gay black boyfriend to Medea's house, no problem.
Yeah, bring him on down there. Bring him on down there.
Tyler Perry is gay. I know he's gay. He knows he's gay. We all have friends that know he's gay. I've hung around Tyler Perry. I've known Tyler Perry for years.
Sean Diddy Combs used to be untouchable. He was one of the biggest names in music, fashion, and entertainment. But now, he's facing accusations so disturbing, so serious, that they could put him behind bars for life. And while this trial was never meant to involve Tyler Perry, somehow his name keeps coming up. Not inside the courtroom directly, but in whispers, testimonies, and the web of stories being unraveled.
Rumor that have been going on about my relationship status, let me make it clear to you all. I'm not gay. For those of you spreading rumor Jalla Kelly because you find out I'm gay, that's a big lie. I broke up with her because we figured out we are not compatible and decided to go our separate ways. And if you must know, we're still working together, so enough with the rumor. And if you have interest in me to figure out I'm straight, kindly text me directly and I'll make out time to reply thank you.
Years ago, singer Jaguar Wright made a statement that most people brushed off. She said she'd seen Tyler Perry at one of Diddy's parties, not just stopping by, but fully immersed in the scene. "You were having a glorious time," she said in one interview, directly addressing Perry. At the time, folks wrote her off. "That's just Jaguar being Jaguar," they said. "Too outrageous, too unverified." But now, with everything coming out in the Diddy trial, her words hit differently. Those glorious parties are now being described in graphic, legal detail, and the dots are starting to connect. Recently, in the midst of the growing speculation, Tyler Perry spoke up. "There have been rumors about my relationship status," he said. "Let me be clear, I'm not gay. And for those of you spreading that, it's a lie." But for many observers, it wasn't about his sexuality, it was about proximity, about who was in the room, who saw what, and stayed silent. Jaguar Wright hasn't been silent. She's been ringing the alarm for years, warning about what really goes on in the entertainment industry's dark corners. She spoke about male artists being mentored and then exploited by powerful men in the industry.
Tell me what happened to my friends. And I don't care how long it's been since I talked to them. They will always be my friends. Always. Tim and Durrett and Lamont Rucker were not the same after they went on camera with Tyler.
Her heartbreak isn't just about what happened, it's about how the industry protects the powerful and punishes the truth tellers. Now, as the trial unfolds, people are asking harder questions. Why are so many influential names circling the same events, the same locations, the same timelines? And how many of them knew more than they let on? What's happening with Diddy is massive. The trial is peeling back layers that many people thought would never see daylight. Allegations of manipulation, drugging, non-consensual acts, and forced NDAs are painting a chilling picture of the world behind those luxurious, star-studded parties. Cassie Ventura, one of the first major figures to speak out and told the court about what Diddy called freak-offs. These weren't just wild parties, they were organized, deliberate, and deeply disturbing. According to her, women were handed pills, placed in controlled environments, and asked to perform while Diddy watched, sometimes directing the scene like a film director on set. Cassie said what started out as a relationship soon turned into something transactional. She described moments where being intimate in front of other people became a job done to make Diddy happy. And she admitted through tears that back then, she was just 21 and desperate for his approval. She genuinely loved him. She didn't fully understand what she was stepping into. Another woman testified that she woke up in one of Diddy's guest suites in Miami, bruised and with no memory of what had happened the night before. When she refused hush money, she said, she lost her job with a company tied to Revolt TV. And then there was testimony from a former executive assistant who explained that these hush settlements were routine. According to her, NDAs weren't just signed, they were weaponized. Some of these contracts even referenced explicit recordings from Diddy's parties, including one that allegedly took place in Turks and Caicos. These claims aren't just wild headlines anymore, they're backed by federal evidence. This isn't just a scandal, it's a reckoning. Something seismic is happening in the entertainment world right now. For decades, the industry has been built on smoke and mirrors, glossy headlines, picture-perfect lives, and the illusion that all is well behind the scenes. But now, the curtain is being pulled back, and what's coming into the light isn't just scandalous, It's disturbing. The trial of Sean Diddy Combs has quickly evolved into more than just a high-profile courtroom drama. It's turned into a reckoning. Testimonies that were once whispers in the dark corners of social media are now official court records. Allegations once brushed off as rumors are being confirmed through federal exhibits. And names that were once protected by fame and power are now being mentioned in the same breath as manipulation, coercion, and exploitation. And unexpectedly, one of those names is Tyler Perry. Now, Tyler Perry hasn't been charged with anything. He's not sitting in court. But he is being mentioned. Not in legal documents, but in the testimonies, the timelines, and the context of this deeply twisted world that's coming undone. It started as background noise, but as more victims come forward and the web begins to unravel, Perry's name keeps surfacing, especially after actor Christian Keyes posted a cryptic and powerful video that rocked social media. Back on December 16th, Christian dropped a bomb. He didn't name anyone outright, but he didn't need to.
Based on this person's claims and brags that he's literally got. At the same time, this person was asking me for years.
He talked about a powerful man in the entertainment industry, someone he once looked up to, considered a brother and mentor who had harassed him. He said he had evidence, video, names, everything locked away with his attorney and family just in case something happened to him. His words weren't just a warning, they were a survival tactic. Fans connected the dots quickly. Christian had previously praised Tyler Perry as a mentor, someone who helped open doors for him in the industry. So when this video dropped and he talked about an unnamed male mentor who crossed the line, people didn't have to guess hard. But let's be clear, Christian's message wasn't about outing someone's sexuality. It was about abuse of power. About someone using influence and status to control others, to silence them, to manipulate situations behind closed doors. And that hit especially hard because, at the same time, Diddy's trial was confirming that these tactics weren't just rumors, they were real. Non-disclosure agreements, private recordings, drugged women, coerced silence. This wasn't a standalone story anymore, it was a pattern. Suddenly, everything that Jaguar Wright had been saying for years didn't sound so far-fetched. Jaguar had previously said she saw Tyler Perry at Diddy's infamous parties. She warned that these weren't just Hollywood get-togethers. They were controlled environments where silence was bought and people were changed forever. Back then, people laughed her off. But now, those claims seem a little too familiar. And then there's the Boondocks. Years ago, a banned episode of the animated show introduced a character named Winston Jerome, a flamboyant, closeted Christian filmmaker who used religion and mentorship to manipulate young men. The character was a thinly veiled parody of Tyler Perry. The episode never aired. According to one of the show's producers, Perry was furious and demanded it be pulled. What seemed like satire back then now feels eerily prophetic. Add to that the stories from actors who auditioned for Perry's productions, one of whom made it to the final round before being dropped for not being engaged enough during a prayer circle. Some even allege these spiritual sessions were monitored or filmed. Sounds far-fetched? Maybe it did until Diddy's trial confirmed that surveillance, control, and documentation were standard practice in his inner circle. Now, those prayer circles don't feel so holy. They feel strategic. And let's not forget how Perry responded. After Christian Keyes' video went viral and Jaguar Wright's past statements resurfaced, Perry didn't address the specifics. He didn't comment on the trial, the testimonies, or the accusations. He focused on the gossip. He called the rumors lies. He said people were spreading falsehoods. But his tone didn't feel dismissive. It felt defensive. This isn't about proving who did what just yet. That's for the courts. But when multiple people start connecting the same dots, and when different stories from different voices all start echoing each other, we have to start asking bigger questions. This is no longer just about Diddy. This is about a system, one that's been in place for far too long, where power shields predators and silence is the currency of survival. The fact that Tyler Perry's name is even being mentioned in this climate is telling. The public isn't blindly accusing, they're finally noticing patterns that were always there hidden behind million-dollar smiles and billion-dollar brands. We don't know how this will all end. Diddy's trial is still unfolding, and the final verdict is yet to be written. But the truth is already out there. The veil of celebrity has been lifted, and what's underneath is messy, painful, and deeply disturbing. Hollywood can't pretend anymore. This isn't just a scandal, it's a shift. The entertainment industry is being forced to confront its darkest truths. And as more voices rise, as more secrets are brought into the light, one thing is clear: the age of unchecked power in Hollywood might finally be over. What stood out most wasn't his choice of words, it was why he chose to respond. Because in the past, he's never needed to. Tyler Perry doesn't explain himself to the internet. His brand has always been bulletproof, built on success, faith, and emotional storytelling. But now, something's different. People aren't just hearing rumors anymore, they're connecting the dots. From Cassie's powerful courtroom testimony to Jaguar Wright's bold live streams and Christian Key's carefully worded video, it's all starting to feel like one big ugly puzzle that's finally coming together. And the picture it's painting, a world where fame isn't just about lights and cameras, it's about control. A world where power doesn't just protect careers, it silences victims. But here's the thing. When that kind of system starts to crack, the silence doesn't hold. That's what we're watching happen right now. Tyler Perry's response? It didn't squash the rumors, it put him right in the timeline. He didn't address the allegations head on. Instead, he got defensive. And let's be honest, the timing was suspicious. People weren't just talking about Christian's vague accusations, they were watching Perry closely. And his reaction? It didn't feel like strength. It felt like pressure. But this isn't just about Perry, Christian, or even Jaguar. It's about something bigger, the machine itself. Because Diddy's trial, that wasn't just a scandal about one man. That courtroom peeled back the curtain on an entire system. The testimonies weren't just shocking, they were specific. Hotel workers, drivers, assistants, lawyers, even security. Everyone had a role. Everyone knew something. Everyone was taught to protect the brand, not the people. Cassie didn't just accuse, she named people, roles, responsibilities. She mapped out how silence was enforced, how money moved, how NDAs kept stories buried. And suddenly, the private world of the rich and powerful didn't feel so mysterious. It felt orchestrated. That's the same world Tyler Perry operates in, carefully managed, deeply spiritual on the surface, but incredibly insulated underneath. For years, that space went unquestioned. But now, the illusion's cracking. When Jaguar Wright says Tyler was at those infamous parties, people don't shrug it off anymore. They pause. They listen. When Christian Key speaks without naming names, fans don't need him to. They already know what he's saying. And when people rewatch, that banned episode of The Boondocks, it doesn't feel like a cartoon. It feels like a warning. This trial didn't just expose Diddy, it exposed how unchecked power protects itself with lawyers, contracts, prayer circles, and silence. And that's the part that sticks. Because this isn't just about what Tyler Perry might have done. It's about what he might have been part of. A machine that dressed itself in mentorship, religion, and fame, all while hiding manipulation, coercion, and control. And now, that machine is starting to break.